Yeah, yeah. Staying grounded in the soulful silk mind of a nameless comet. We believe the transmissions of a coming era. A signal broadcast across the outer rim. Van Drago rebels in grease-stained vests practice taking pop shots against the bulkheads of the derelict freighters with practice symmetry. Grinning wide through the smoke plumes of black leaf tobacco, a chemical spike in a starving cycle. Oxygen-deprived brain on the fritz, a momentary glitch in systematic decay of the base carbon life form. The blockade is a ring of iron and glass steel locked in orbit around the sun. A mass of interdictor cruisers warped in too close to a swarm of insectoid Dyson spheres, filtering out the light until the cruisers turn into a gray, brittle ash. The open sky is no longer a window. It's a prison cell. Another full-scale invasion has arrived eons late. A massive old Republic Star Destroyers. An orbital bombardment took shape and is a volting rhythmic pulse of kinetic energy, soon turning up the thermostat, and the crust of the desert planet was becoming a boiling sea of glass. The attrition is measured in the thinning of the wrists and the eyes of the five eyes of Osiris in the upper atmosphere. The dogfights are merely silent sparks, beam weapons carving neon gashes across the void of the night. TIE fighters shattered the micro debris and created a storm within the heavens. A pilot vaporized before his screams can even hit the comm. The holographic pieces flickering on the board of low mega wattage lights. The camera lingers on the slow deliberate rotation of a plastic king, moving the carved monsters through the squares of a doomed game, while the apes among us whisper in the hidden transmitters. Plasmatic rifles humming in the hands of faceless ranks, trading the coordinates of the mess hall gravy boat for a chance to honor the fallen. A superstar destroyer hangs in the low orbit over a jungle world like a guillotine. Its shadow cooling the planet by 5 degrees. Its gravity sink cold pulls at the canopy, dragging the poison critters from their slumber. Its heavy beam weapons commence drilling into the crust, releasing lakes of molten lava and plumes of ash. And other news, Omnicorp recycling harvested 40 tons of copper wiring from the dead droids on X, shining refugees of the conflict resorted to eating tanned leather red outposts. Echo battalions were reduced to a single battalion of shivering ghost mechs, gnawing on synthetic pig grease. We pray for a Dominion red supply ship, just another day on the Jedi Death Star news network. We're here to silence the screaming voices across the sector. The starvation has a way of clarifying one's gaze through the 10-ax visor. The supply drops are no longer rations, but containers of spam soil in the process. Tasteless remains of the previous generation clones. Death Star 3 is a dwarf planet-sized, all-seeing eye, and this asteroid belt of the Zenith system is just an expression of the Empire's budget. A singular point costs nothing more, rendering the complexity of an insect world into stardust. The force powers remain steady mobbing. The propaganda posters are used to patch the janky leaking wounds of the whole. The slogans of eternal glory leaking oxygen into the freezing black. The Hunger Games is a vacuum that pulls the soul through the gaps in the teeth. We watch the infantry moving waves across the fractured plains. At Walker stepping over the piles of unburied frozen armor. The camera pans across the horizon in a slow, agonizingly steady line. The force is never mentioned here. In the mud and the radiation, there is only the weight of the ammunition and the lack of the bread. We see the rebels executed in the trenches by droids without faces. The blood turning into red crystals in the sub-zero atmosphere. The infrastructure of the galaxy is a machine designed to grind bone, to turn the heat of sentient life into the cold efficiency of a ledger. The cigar smoke is long since cleared. There are no heroes in the dark, only the survivors and the jet fuel. Then the change of heart arrived without a sound or a fanfare. It was not a realization of peace or a sudden descent of grace, but the sight of a dying enemy soldier sharing his pressurized mass. The superstar destroyer finally broke under the stress of its own mass. A burning wreck of a trillion credits falling through the toxic clouds. 2 sets of lungs pulling from the same dwindling hissing tank, realizing that the empire and the rebellion are just hollow words spoken by men in high towers who have never felt their own ribs touch. The Bobog chess pieces lie scattered in the dirt, unwoven.